All right, so we are going to be making a Model Magic snowman. And one of the things we need to make sure we do when we make this snowman is we have to make sure that we're making parts that are going to fit. When we want to make sure that something is going to fit, we measure to get the right amount. And that's what this is for. So I call this a measure mat. And that means that we have to measure the piece and make it look like it is here before we put it on our snowman. So if I make his eyes too big, I won't have room for his nose. If I make his scarf too small, it won't fit around his neck. So that's why we always have to start on here first. We have to make our piece long enough or big enough before we put it on our snowman. Now when we get started, we are going to get our own package of white first. And you're also going to need to pick up your measure mat and your scissors once I give you your white. You're going to cut the end off of this package of Model Magic. This is an air dry clay, so that's why it's in this package, so it won't dry out before we use it. Then you're going to want to cut down the side a little bit so that you can pull it open. We get it open, we take all of this out, and then this goes in the trash can, and we put our scissors away. Now, one of the things we want to do is we want to soften this up. So we're going to do 20 squeezes first. So that's going to help soften it up. I think I'm on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now that I've softened it up a little bit, I'm going to split it in half. There is no leftovers. We're using all of it. So you only take it apart in half. And then each half we have to roll into a ball. When we roll in a ball, if we press really lightly when we roll in a circle, it's going to stay pretty bumpy. But if we press a little harder when we roll, it's going to get a lot smoother. Now, my table is a little dirty, so it's making my snowman dirty, but yours should be okay. All right, so we want to make a nice smooth ball, and then we have to do that to the other one as well. Now, if one of these is bigger, it should go on the bottom of your snowman. So I think this one's a little bigger, so I'm going to gently press them together. If I squish them really hard, then they're going to lose their shape. So just a gentle press, and then you can do a little tug test, and this is holding together. Now, it's really important that I stand it up, okay? We want to stand our snowman up because if we make him laying down, he's just going to get more and more and more flat. And eventually, he's not going to stand up anymore. So we need to make sure he's standing up when we make him. All right, now I have to start measuring. So when I measure, I can start where I want to. I normally start with the scarf first. So I need to make these pieces that are about the size of a worm. You can do a 2-color scarf, or you can just do 1 color. That's up to you. I'm going to show you how to do it with 2 colors. So I have to go over to the table where the colored Model Magic is, and I need to get 2 pieces that are going to make this size. So you want to take a pretty big pinch. I'm going to show you. All right, so this is what the pinch should look like. You take a pinch kind of like this and take a piece like that. Okay, it's about the size of a grape. Now, this bag can't stay at your table. You don't take this to your table. This stays over on the supply table. You just take a pinch of what you need, and you bring that back to your table. So I need one more color. All right, so I'm going to do a pinch of red now. It is important that we don't take the whole thing out of the bag because this is air dry clay. It dries out by being in the air. So when we're not using it, it has to stay in the bag. All right, so these 2 pieces, I have to roll into a worm shape. So you can do it in your hand or on the table, but you're going to roll it back and forth. And we want to get it about the same length. It's okay if it's a little bit off, but it needs to be pretty close to fitting on that piece. That's how I'm knowing it's going to be enough. I'm measuring it and it's long enough. Same thing with the other one. So I'm rolling it back and forth to make that worm. And then That's a good enough fit. That's really close. Now, with two colors, what you do is you actually put them together and then you roll them so they become one. And then what you can do is you can twist it a little bit and make it look like stripes or like a candy cane design. Don't twist it too much though, because if you twist it too much, you'll end up breaking it. So you want to be careful. Now, you can wrap it all the way around so it's just bunched up around your snowman's neck, or you can kind of cross it over and have parts hanging down. So I'm going to start around the back of the neck here. I'm going to bring it around the front, and I'll make this one hanging down. So he's got his little scarf hanging down. Now, the thing about Model Magic is once it's on there, it's on there. You can't take it back off. It's stuck. So you just kind of have to work with it wherever it lands, because you trying to take it off will mess up the white. Okay, so be careful. All right, so still standing up. Now he has a scarf. So now I have to decide if I want to do earmuffs, and that shows me what I need for earmuffs, or if I want to make a hat, and this shows me what I need for a hat. So I think I'm going to show you both. So I'm going to get another big pinch. I'm only going to use one color for this to show you, so I can show you both. So I'm going to take a big pinch here. I need enough that I can make the hat, so I might actually need two big pinches. Then I get another big pinch here. And again, these are about the size of a grape. Okay, so those should work. All right, so if I'm going to make the hat, I need to roll these into two balls first. Okay, so they should be pretty close fit there. Got to measure before it goes on. Then I'm going to take my thumb and press one of these flat. That's the bottom of his hat. And then I'm going to put the top of his hat on. And then you can see that'll just sit on top of his head. If I'm going to make the earmuffs, I probably don't need all of this. I need to roll two smaller balls. And then I need a really short worm piece. So if I have extra, I can go put it back in the bag. So I'm going to roll that back and forth. All right, and then that piece is going to go around his head. So it needs to be a pretty close fit. So once I measure it, then I can put this piece on first, right around the top of his head. And then I'm going to press the little ball pieces on for the sides of the earmuffs, the part that covers the ears. Okay. All right. So now that he's got a scarf and earmuffs, I'm going to start to work on the face. So I'm going to put this piece back because it's still good. And I'm going to get a teeny tiny pinch of black, very tiny, just a little one. I'm going to show you. All right. So teeny tiny means like that. It's barely the size of an M&M. It's really small. If you want a little bit more so it's like an M&M, that's it. That's all you get. You don't get any more than that. This little piece is going to make the entire face. So when I do this, I actually have to take this tiny piece and I have to break it apart into really tiny crumbs. They're very, very small. This is the part that most friends don't measure, and then they make these big giant eyeballs on their snowman and they take over the whole head, and then you don't have any room for the nose. So we want to pinch these itty bitty little pieces like little tiny crumbs. And then you can decide how many you want for the mouth. A lot of times I like to do 3. And then of course if you want some buttons, you can use some of this for buttons too. Okay, so these things are really hard because they're very tiny, but you got to make sure that you measure and that they fit first. So once you know that they fit, you're going to just roll it in a little circle with your fingertip, and then you can tap it on. Don't press too hard though. Roll it and tap it. Roll it and tap it. So I decided to give him buttons. You don't have to. All right, same thing for the face. Roll it. I'm going to put that on for his mouth first. Tap it. Roll it, tap it, roll it, tap it. And then same thing for the eyes. Roll it, tap it. I'm leaving a space here in the middle for his nose too. All right, so measure first before you put it on your snowman. All right, now I need a teeny tiny pinch. You can see how big it needs to be for the nose. So he's got a carrot nose, so I'm gonna take a little pinch of orange here. It doesn't need to be very big, about the size of an M&M, maybe a little smaller even. So measure first, make sure it fits before you put it on him. So now I'm gonna roll this in a little ball. Now this, you gotta make it into a cone shape for his nose. So I'm gonna show you how to do that in my hand here. So I'm gonna roll it in a ball, and then I put my finger on one side, and I go back and forth. And that makes it pointy. Let me show you again. Roll it in a ball, put your finger on one side, go back and forth to make it pointy. Then you're gonna push it on his face gently, give it a little wiggle, make sure it sticks, and now he's got a nose. And then the last thing is, if you want to make some arms, I have some brown for that because the arms on a snowman are usually made with sticks. All right, so you don't need a big piece. It's pretty small. Just a little pinch, and then you're just going to roll it back and forth to make an arm. Okay, so it's a little pinch. So you have, remember, you have to go to the table to get this. Don't take the bag to your seat. Okay, there we go. So now the arms cannot stick off of his body because they'll break. So he basically has to hug himself when I do these arms. So a lot of times I just kind of bend them and then press them gently against his body. You can do them straight too if you want. Okay. All right, so there is my snowman. Now, I get to take him home today, but if I take him home and I squeeze him while he hasn't dried yet, he's gonna end up all mushy. Or if he falls out and someone steps on him, he's gonna get all smushy. So he has to stay somewhere safe, and we can't touch him until he dries. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be putting him in a cup that you're gonna take him home in, and he has to stay in that cup for 3 days. If you take him out before those 3 days, you might squish him, and then he is permanently squished. So over on the supply table, this is what is over there. You're gonna get a cup. You're gonna very carefully drop your snowman in there. We don't wanna push him in because then that might make him smushed. So set him in gently like that, trying to make sure he goes all the way in. Be careful not to push his nose against there. It'll get smushed. So make sure his nose isn't touching the side of the cup, okay? Then we don't want him to fall out. So we're gonna take a piece of tape. We're gonna put it across the top of the cup like that, so he stays in the cup. And then the last thing is, on the side of the cup, you are gonna write your name so that we know it's your cup. And then you are gonna leave that cup at your table because you are taking your snowman home today.